Hello students, welcome you all in my lecture of Electrical Machine 1 of unit number 2. So previously my lectures were related to the unit number 1, that is the basic electrical field and magnetic circuits. So we'll now talk about the magnetic circuit and little talk about the magnetic field, because after generation of magnetic field we can talk about the magnetic circuit. So first of all, the good morning to all of you. The electrical machine one I'm talking about. So it is basically the main subject of electrical engineering, and one I am using for the DC part. Two we are using for the AC, that is alternating current, but electrical machine one is basically for the DC. But now if I am talking about the AC and DC both, so my dear student, if I am talking about the AC and DC both means AC machine and DC machine, basically there are two types: rotating and non-rotating. Rotating we always called as a rotating electrical machine, but non-rotating we called as static. You can say the static field, and rotating will count as a dynamic. So if I'm talking about the static field, so static machine is basically the transformer, as I earlier told you in my previous lecture. And why I'm telling you this thing, because if you are an electrical engineer student, so you know the basics basically. If you will fight for the competitive exams like basically PSUs and basically government companies. So these are the some basic things, and the student basically have to know about the basics, and they have to learn. Basically, they have to understand. They have to understand the things of the basics, basically basic things. So basic thing is what? The basic is the we start from where? Basically, if I basically take an example, so first you take birth, then childhood, then teenage, then adult, then we have been come to the adult position. Now after that adult, we are going to the adult till our age. Now senior citizen comes to the senior citizen as per the thing. So youth will be there between the senior citizen and teenage and adult, we can say. So there are certain stages we have. So if I'm talking about these stages, so primary stage is the basic, how we know. So as per the electrical engineering thing or electrical engineering branch, it came from the physics. Okay, it came from the physics. So the physic laws, basically the laws which used in physics, are the basic thing or are the basic for the electrical machine and electrical engineering also. Why they are basics? Because Biot Savarth told you state one thing, that if we give supply to the coil, then what will happen? If coil is flowing in that coil is basically having the current, and the current is flowing in that coil, then what will happen? We'll found a magnetic field surround it and having certain value, which I already told you in my previous answer. So that is the basic. But electrical field converted into the magnetic field. But magnetic field is also converted into the another form, that is the mechanical, we can say. So electromagnetic thing is there, and due to that electromagnetic we having some interaction, that is force, and due to that force what will happen? A coil will start rotate. So electromagnetic interaction is there, and electromagnetic interaction is what? Whenever there is a current carrying conductor. Current carrying conductor is always a conductor. Obviously, something is carrying the current. So what is it? It is a conductor. So current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field. It experiences a force. It experiences what? It experiences a force and it start rotate. If one thing is force, for example, I am having a station. Now force is applying. So what happened? This is moving like this. One is stationary. I am applying force on it. What will happen? It is moved like this. So if it is moving like this, so for example, the initial position is this one and the final position is this one. So initial and final force into displacement. We are getting what, my dear student? That is taught a basic thing, which we basically learned in the physics, studied in the physics, understood in the physics. So that force cross displacement is basically converted into the torque, and as a result of torque what we find? Rotation. So that is the mechanical power. So electromagnetic interaction will give you the rotation basically. And Faraday law gives you what? If we vary the flux, we can introduce or induce an electrical field, an EMF in a circuit. And if that EMF is in the closed path, then we having the voltage, induced voltage. And if it is a close, then charges will easily move. If charges are moving, so what we can say? The rate of flow of charges are known as current. Is known as, my dear, current, student. So current is flowing. Okay, understand? So through the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction, what we having basically the induction of EMF, and due to that EMF, if closed circuit is there, we will current. So I hope you understand this thing. Now moving forward, objectives. If we are starting something, now if you are want to run a business, if you want to become an entrepreneur, so directly you not become a Ambani and Adani. You have to do step by step things. So one, the motto and the goal is that you have to become a very good entrepreneur. But start from the primary stage. Okay, start from the initial stage. So we can say a small entrepreneur is there, a micro entrepreneur is there. So basic something is there, and we have some objectives that we have to follow this thing, then we'll reach to the final stage. So my objective of this lecture is to help the students to understand about the basics of electromagnetic force. Now, electromagnetic force is due to the interaction, we all know. But the basics which is involved in this, some invention did it basically. Some inventions took place in the ancient time. As I earlier told you in my previous lecture, that there will be some history of magnetic field basically. There was some history from 1300 BC, we having the magnetic field. So if we start from there, we having basically now we are in 2021 basically in a pandemic. Right now we are in the pandemic situation. But if I'm talking about this thing, we are moving forward. Basically, what we are doing, we are moving forward. Okay, and the modernization is basically is moving with us. Now from ancient we are moving to the modern stage. So if I am moving from ancient to modern, we are also moving. The things are changing. Things are changing. First we work on the big giant computer, that is supercomputer. Then we come to the small size computer. Then we again come to the very small size. Now we are using laptop. So we can say enhancement of technology. Okay, so my thing is that in this objective is electromagnetic force, and then make student familiar with the action of charged particles in uniform and non-uniform magnetic. So we can say we having two types of magnetic field. One is the uniform, another one is the non-uniform magnetic field. So student, what I want to do, students familiar with the actions of charged particle. So some invention did basically took place in the ancient time. So I use this thing to try to basically try to give you the brief about it, try to uh, show you that how it works basically, to my diagrams, to my pictures, images. So through this you can easily understand how it works. Now moving forward, notation notes. Now I basically ended my previous lecture with this thing, that is notation note, but it was in the unit number 1. But now I have started the unit, now I am starting the unit number 2. So one thing is there, the unit 1 and unit 2 are basically interlinked. All the 5 units we can say interlinking, but if I'm talking about the first unit and second unit, it is basically interlinked, because the topic of the unit number 1 is magnetic field and circuits, magnetic field and magnetic circuits. But if I'm talking about here, that is electromagnetic force and torque. So these two things are basically combined, and it's basically give you the what, it gives you the what, my dear student, is gives you the electromagnetic interaction, we can say. And we can say electromagnetical conversion also there, because electrical power converted to mechanical power, and we having the magnetic field between it, coupling circuit between it. Okay, so what is notation notes? As I earlier told you, that if I having a paper, so if I identify the B, means that is magnetic field. So B dot shows the B out and cross shows the B in, that is input and output. So when vectors are perpendicular to the page, dot and cross are used. Means if we having a page, a perpendicular, B is perpendicular to the page, so basically we use dot and cross convention, or we can say the signal symbol how we have to identify. So here the dot represents the arrow coming out of the page, and crosses represents the arrow going into the page. Page is there. Now this is the page. It is going out and going in, going out and going in. So dot represent the out and cross represent the into. So if I am using the cross, means I am talking about the input. I am using the dot, it means I am talking about the output. So dot represents the arrow coming out of the page and cross represents the arrow going into the page. The same notation applies to other vectors. So if I'm talking about the paper, so we can say if B is there, so we can use this notation for the other vectors also, direction based particles also. So magnetic field lines coming out of the paper are indicated by dots here. Now here it is shown representing the tips of arrows coming outwards. Tips of arrow coming outward like this. Okay, coming outwards. Secondly, we having the B figure or B diagram. Magnetic field lines going into the paper means it is going inside the paper are indicated by crosses. If I am using crosses here, so it is indicated that it is coming into the page, not going out. If I am using the dot, it is going out. If I am using the cross, it is coming. Okay, so indicated by crosses representing the feathers of arrow going inward. Feathers of arrow going inward means arrow we have using inward, and if I am using for outward, that is dot. If I am using dot means out, if I am using cross means in. Hope you understand. Now charged particle in a magnetic field, it is very important. If we having a charged particle in a magnetic field, my dear student, so magnetic force acting on the charge is always directed toward the center of circle, direct toward the center of circle. So see here, we having the, as per the diagram, we having the now positive charge, negative positive, here we having positive. So we having the charges q is represented by q. So we are having always perpendicular to each other. See here, we having the force that is of B, that is magnetic force is there. So magnetic force is perpendicular to V, that is the velocity we having, it is moving. So V is there, F is there, then we having the Q. So what we write here, F is equals to QV. We can say force is equals to Q into V, velocity into charge. So we can identify in the B. B means the magnetic field. And other way we can say it is a density, magnetic field density, the ratio of flux to the area given per meter square, my dear students. So here, now consider a particle moving in an external magnetic field, its velocity perpendicular to the field. Consider a particle moving in a external magnetic field, means it is moving outer the field. Okay, this is the magnetic field, it is moving outer the field with its velocity perpendicular to the field. Now velocity will be what happens, perpendicular to the field. Okay, the force is always directed toward the center of circular path. So see here, my dear student, if they are perpendicular to each other, but the force is accepted to the center of the what, circular path. If path is circular here, though we having a center, so if we apply a force in it, if we apply force in it, q into v, it always move, means force is always moving towards the center of that circular path, of that circle, of that sphere, we can say. So it's moving towards the center of this circle, we can say here, center of the circle moving towards. And this is the magnetic field shown by the cross. So out or in, we having two things. Okay, so input is there and dot always shows the output, so we are representing input. Now the magnetic force causes a centripetal acceleration, it is coming to the center place, so acceleration done, it is centripetal acceleration, changing the direction of velocity of the particle. Now velocity of the particle is changing to this force because it is moving towards the center. All charges try to move to the center side. Okay, moving to the center. So what happens, centripetal acceleration take place. Okay, now moving forward. Now force on a charged particle, if I'm talking about the force, that means if I want to basically identify the expression for the force, if I'm talking about the force, so force on a charged particle, now use the particle under a net force and a particle in uniform circular motion models. Now what I am using here, particle under a net force. If I am using a particle under what? Net force, and a particle in uniform circular motion. Uniform circular motion models. Uniform, I am talking about the uniform. As I earlier told you that in this lecture, I talk about, I basically teach you about, okay, I will tell you about the uniform and non-uniform non-uniform magnetic field. Okay, so net force and a particle in uniform circular motion models. I'm looking for it. We having a circular, equating the magnetic and centripetal forces. Now magnetic force and as well as centripetal forces. Now if I'm talking about this thing, though, we have QVB. QVB. B is what? Your magnetic field, and Q is the charges, and V is the velocity. So instead of this, what I am writing here, mv square upon r. 1 upon 2 mv square, we can say kinetic energy. So I'm using mv square by r. It is also this thing. So we can represent r is equals to mv by qb by shifting the places, or basically the cross multiplication. We can do one thing. Here we can write like this: v cancel out with the v, so it became 1v. So qb into mv upon r, so r is equals to mv by qb. Okay, now r is proportional to the linear movement of the particle. So m is what here? Momentum, linear momentum. So r is proportional to the linear momentum of the particle and inversely proportional to the magnetic field. Okay, if I'm talking about this thing, so r is what? Is basically proportional to the linear momentum of the particle and inversely proportional to the magnetic field. So if magnetic field is increasing, then r is decreasing. If momentum is increasing, then r is increasing. If velocity is increasing, then r is increasing. If charges are decreasing, r is increasing. If charges are decreasing, r increasing. If r decreasing, charge is increasing. Okay, hope you understand. Now move forward. More about motion of charged particle. Now we talked now a little bit. Now take a more basically think about it, understand about it more about motion of charged particle. Now angular speed of the particle is given by omega. Angular speed of the particle is given by omega, and omega is basically the v by r. That is qb by m. That is what? Q charges into magnetic field by momentum. Now, what is the omega is here? The omega is basically the angular speed. Omega is basically the speed of omega. Is also referred to as a cyclotron frequency. Cyclotron frequency, omega. And we always called as a rotational velocity and angular speed. Okay. So we having the period of motion is t is equals to 2v 2 pi r upon v. Okay, and we can also call it as 2 pi by omega, and we also write the value of omega is what? 2 pi m by qb from the above equation. See, we having first, we having the force value. We having two forces, magnetic and centripetal forces applied on it. Why it is applied on it, my dear student? We having three particles, three charged particles. See in the equation. Now in the three particles, we know that electromagnetic force. First, electromagnetic force, when will it occurs? Basically, it occurs whenever there is a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field. That is electromagnetic field force. Then what will happen? Whenever there is a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. Due to this force, the basically conductor moves. So we can apply. So here, if I want to know the magnetic force, so magnetic force is basically what? Q into V into B. Q is charge, V is the velocity, B is the magnetic field or magnetic field density. So here what I want to say you, that if I am talking about the force, one is the magnetic force, okay, and magnetic force of all the particles try to meet with the center, try to move with the move towards the center, and we having some radius, that is r, that is the r, and the momentum which is moving, we are having same thing. So in this we having what? We having the radius r, and if I'm talking about the magnetic and centripetal forces, so the equation we have is qvb. But if I'm talking about the momentum, so momentum is basically 1 upon 2 mv square, we can say. So we have used this equation, but here we have the momentum, so I'm using what? Mv square upon r. R is radius, V is velocity, m is momentum, that is linear momentum. By this equation, I can convert the equation into simple way, that is r is equals to mv upon q into v, where m is momentum, v is the velocity, q is the charge, and v is magnetic field. So I hope you understand. Through this relation, we can say radius, if you want to increase, then momentum will increase. If radius is increasing, then velocity is increasing. If radius is increasing but charge is decreasing, if radius is increasing, then magnetic field is decreasing. Means r is proportional to linear momentum and velocity, and r is inversely proportional to the charge and magnetic field. I hope you this thing understand this thing. So same thing here. Now if I'm talking about the angular speed, if something is moving, we applied force in it, what will happen? It start move, because force into displacement, one is there, I applied a force on it, it moves. Okay, if it is moving, so initial to final we have a displacement, due to this it will start rotating. Now if I'm talking about the rotation, that is the some angular speed, that is omega, is also referred to as cyclotron frequency. Cyclotron frequency, cyclotron frequency. Okay, the period of the motion is given by this equation. T denotes the time, r is again radius, v is the velocity, so we can write 2 pi r by v, because we having 2 pi r of the basically, if we have to cover the whole area, cover the cyclotron, basically the circular form, we having 2 pi r. So 2 pi r upon v, we can also write 2 pi upon omega, because r by b is omega, we already know v by r is omega basically, and r by b is 1 by omega from the above equation. Okay, so we place some value from this equation, now it will become 2 pi by omega and is equals to 2 pi m by qb. I placing the value. Okay, so 2 is proportional to the momentum but inversely proportional to the charge and magnetic field. I hope you understand this thing. Now moving forward, motion of particle generally, if I'm talking about the motion of particle in general. So here, if charge particle moves in a magnetic field at some arbitrary angle, means you are choosing your chosen angle. Okay, arbitrary we are taking. So if a charge particle moves in a magnetic field at some arbitrary angle, with respect to field, its path is a helix. No, see, I'm choosing some angle, so it gives you what? It gives you the helical path. See here, helical. It's moving like this. So it is moving like what? If we having the basically three dimension. So we having three axes, x, y, and z. So if I'm talking about B in the y and x axis, so charge is moving like what? Helical path. It gives you the helical path to understand. So same equation apply with V, replaced by V1 is equals to Vy square plus Vz square. So same we can say Vy square plus Vz square. Okay, we having some which type of structure? Helical path. So if a charge particle moves in a magnetic field, so having a particle charge basically moves in a magnetic field at some arbitrary angle. For example, I choose the particle is there, I am choosing some angle that is 30 degree. So arbitrary angle with this, with the field, its path is a helix. This is the particle, now it's moved to 30 degree like this. So it will move like helix to 30 degree, move 30 degree helix. So we can apply the equation here, that is with V replaced by V1 is equals to root Vy square plus Vz square. So we can set is very simple equation. It's very simple equation to identify. Now banding of an electron beam. Banding, see the banding of the electron beam here. Banding, electron just light. We can say we are finding some fire. We are finding some light here. That is electron beam. Okay. Now electrons are accelerated from rest through a potential difference. Now, my dear student, if I am talking about the electrons or charges, so what happens if we having so two potential difference, one and two? Due to the difference, what happened? The force exerted on charges. Due to this acceleration of charges on the force, what will happen? Charge move from one to second place. Moving. If it is moving, that means the rate of flow of charges is happen take place. So what we called as current in electrical field. Basically, what is going on here? We are applying a voltage on it. That voltage is basically what, my dear student? That voltage is basically an EMF, electromotive force. But my view, I always used to say electron motion force, the force which basically give motion to the electrons to move from one end to the another. So what is the potential difference, also called as potential difference? So first line basically tells you this thing, that electrons are accelerated from rest through a potential difference. Now they are resting. If I am applying a voltage, if I am having the potential difference, what will happen? The force exerted on the electrons move from one place to another place. One thing move to one to another. Okay, so that is the movie. Now electrons then either a uniform magnetic field that is perpendicular to the velocity vector. We can say the electron enters a uniform magnetic field. If I am having a uniform magnetic field, it is look like a uniform spherical structure. Then it is perpendicular to the velocity vector. If it is enter in the uniform field, what will happen? It is always perpendicular to the velocity vector, the vector of velocity. So it is always perpendicular. Means if it is velocity vector is like this, for example, is the magnetic field enter, it's the velocity vector. So it is entering, and this is your velocity vector. So perpendicular. Okay. The electron travels in a curved path. So the always electron beam, if electrons is moving in a curve, it making a curve, maybe of spherical. Okay, but it is basically forming a path in a, or traveling in a curved path. Okay, now conservation of energy will give V. The conservation of energy will give you the V voltage, we can say. Other parameters can be found. Now if I want to say you say something, that if I want to found something, so there will be some other parameters can be found easily. So I hope you understand about this thing. Now moving forward, particle in a non-uniform magnetic field. Now, my dear student, if I am talking about one thing, that if I want to talk you about this thing, that previously we talked about the uniform magnetic field. See here, we having one force, charge particle in a magnetic field. Then we having some equations of force charge particle. We having another equation, but we are little in this. We are talking about the uniform magnetic field. Now, this is electron beam also. But now in this, what I am talking about, I am talking about the particle in a non-uniform magnetic field. If magnetic field is non-uniform, we'll finding no uniform means no circular. Uh, we can say not basically spherical, no rectangular, no square. It's special kind of shape, that is non-uniform magnetic field. So the motion is complex. First thing, if we can find this thing. So what I want to say you something, that the motion will be complex, is very complex. For example, particles can oscillate back and forth between two positions. Back and forth between two positions. So particles, if are moving like this, it move like this, the motion is there. It moving like this, the motion is there. So we can identify like this, okay, like this and like this. So we having some motions, okay. That is, we can say back and forth between two positions. Back and forth between two positions. Particles can oscillate like this, not stationary. In the previous uniform magnetic field, it is perpendicular like this, same in a helical structure. But if I'm talking about this thing, that is what? That is the non-uniform magnetic field. So if I'm talking about the non-uniform magnetic field, so it is basically particles can oscillate back and forth between two positions. Back and forth between two positions. Oscillation of particle. Now this configuration is known as magnetic bottle. See, first previously we basically find, like see here, it is a helical path. See, in this the charge is moving in the which path? In the helical path. Now if I am talking about here, my dear student, so it is what? Basically the magnetic bottle structure. See, it is moving here. Now some oscillation, small then large then small. So back and forth between two positions. So magnetic force exerted on the particle near either end of the bottle has component that causes particle to spiral back towards the center. So we're having some force on it. It applies the force starting from bottle to higher, then moving like this. So we're having some oscillation back and forth. So it gives you the structure like this, bottle structure. See, in this we'll find like this bottle structure is there, like, and it is found in here. It is helical moving, then center it is maximum, then minimum. So it give you the bottle structure, magnetic bottle. So in which we are getting the magnetic bottle, we are getting the particle in the non-uniform magnetic field. This give you the magnetic bottle. Now moving forward, when Allen radiation bands. Now, Van Allen radiation belts basically is what? The Van Allen radiation belt consists of charged particles. If I'm talking about the Van Allen radiation belts, so Van Allen radiation belt consists of charged particles. So many particles charged, and they are charged basically. That is not we can say uncharged particle is not there, are not there. They are all charged particles surrounding the Earth in donut shaped regions. Now this is looking like the Earth, and this is the donut shaped region, and we having the charged particle. So what is it? It is a Van Allen radiation belts. Can say Van Allen radiation belts. The particles are trapped by the Earth non-uniform magnetic. So we can say it is an example of non-uniform magnetic field. Previously we have the uniform magnetic field, but now this is the example. This is an example of non-uniform magnetic field. So in this, what we having, the particles are trapped by the Earth non-uniform magnetic field. It is trapped by the Earth. See, Earth non-uniform magnetic field. We having non-uniform, small, higher, we can say, and it is also a Van Allen radiation belts. The particles spiral from pole to pole may result in auras. Okay, so we having what? We having the particle spiral from pole to pole, north to south, south to north. To we having some particle spiral combinations. You know about the spiral winding. We having spiral structure. So that is the spiral. We having some spirals from pole to pole and may result in auras. We having some aura of it. It look like this spiral. So that is when Allen radiation builds. Now, if I'm talking about the charged particle moving in electric and magnetic. Now, charged particles moving in electric and magnetic field. So, what we get here, my dear student? Now, in many applications, charged particles move in the presence of both magnetic and electrical. Many applications. Many application means if I'm talking about electrical machines, so in electrical machine we having two types of machine: motor and generator, that is rotating machines, and transformer, that is non-rotating or static machine. In static machine, basically we having the alternating nature of flux, which is cut by the coils, and due to that cutting or due to the variation of the flux, what will happen? EMF will introduce. Static. Now in the motor and generator, motor convert what? Electrical to mechanical, and generator converts mechanical to electrical. But my dear student, in generator and motor, basically we are converting electrical to mechanical with the help of magnetic circuit, and vice versa. So in that one, we having what? A magnetic force, that is electromagnetic force is what? Current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field, just like similar to your motor. It experiences a force. So that charged particle moving an electric and magnetic fields always. So in many applications, as I earlier told you, so many applications are there. Charged particle will move in presence of both magnetic and electric. So there we having the electrical field and magnetic circuit is there. So magnetic field is also there, electrical field also there, and charged particle is moving. In that case, the total force is sum of the force due to the individual fields. So in that case, we called as the total force is what? Sum of the all forces due to individual field. See, we having two fields, electrical and magnetic field. Electrical having some force, magnetical having force. So addition of these two, we are getting in that case. Now the total force is called the Lorentz force. That total force is always called as a Lorentz force. The Lorentz was a physicist who basically derived this thing, who basically developed or invented this thing. In general form, we write F is equals to QE plus QV into B. So now what I want to say you, as per the Lorentz force, we add all the forces. Means one is the electrical field, another one is the magnetic field. See, two fields are there. So one force applying on the electrical field, another force is applying on the magnetic field. So that force's addition will give you the total force. That is your Lorentz force. So Lorentz force is what? QE due to the electrical field. E EMF is there and Q charges. And the second field force is due to the magnetic. That is QV into B, charges velocity into force. Basically, the charges velocity into B give you the force. Okay, I hope you understand. That is Lorentz force. Now, if I am talking about the velocity sector, so if I am talking about here, my dear student, so as I earlier told you, if I am talking about the force is always move towards the center. So use when all particles need to be with the same velocity. Means when all the particles need to move with the same velocity. They are moving with the same velocity, not up, not down, same velocity. Okay. A uniform magnetic field is perpendicular to the non-uniform magnetic. Now two fields are there, uniform and non-uniform. So what will happen? Basically, what will happen if we having all the particles need to move the same velocity first. If we having non-uniform and uniform field, so not always uniform magnetic field is perpendicular to the non-uniform. See see here, we having two fields, so that is the perpendicular to the field. Okay. When the force due to electric field is equal but opposite to the force due to magnetic field, the particle moves in straight line. Now what will happen if we having a force due to the electrical field? Particle is there, see, it is a magnetic field, cross showing what? In, and dot showed going out. So I am using the cross here. Positive negative ions is showing by. Now see in this diagram what I want to show you. Basically a slit is there, a source is there, a gap is there. That negative positive showing you the electrical field. That basically the crosses is showing that magnetic field is in means input side, in coming inside, basically cross showing. So in this we are having two types of forces. One force is due to electrical force, another force is due to the magnetic force. So they are opposing each other, they are in the opposite direction, but they make what? They make a straight line construction. They make a straight line construction. So we having the uniform and non-uniform magnetic field. So uniform magnetic field is perpendicular to the non-uniform magnetic field if we having all particles working in a field. Okay. So moves in a straight line. This occurs for velocities of value. This occurs for what? Velocities of value, my dear students. So I hope you understand. And we can also call this E upon B, electrical field E, and B is a magnetic field. So the ratio of these two, we are getting what? Velocity P, which gives you the velocity. See, why we are having this velocity? Because it moving straight. We having this straight construction, but due to this difference, it moving. So that we are getting the velocity. So I hope you understand this thing. Now moving forward. Now velocity sector. Only those particles with the given speed will pass through the two fields undeflected. Only those particles with the given speed, which particles having the speed, means we have already given the speed, will pass through the two fields undeflected. Means the particles already having the speed, they move around, they move away from the particle, basically field undeflected, means no changes. The magnetic force exerted on the particles moving at the speed greater than this is stronger than the electrical field, and particle will deflect it to the left. If magnetic force exerted on the particles moving at a speed greater than this is stronger, means magnetic force exerted on the particle is greater, which speed they have. For example, a particle is moving at the 50 kilometer per hour speed, but the magnetic force exerted at 70 kilometer per hour, or we can say 70 Newton meter, is greater, then it will deflect to the left. Electrical field, then the electrical field, and the particle will deflect it to left. That's all. I hope you understand this thing. Those moving more slowly will deflect to the right. Those moving more slowly will deflect to the right of it. I hope you understand. Now, mass spectrometer. That is the example, or we can say the one thing. What is mass spectrometer here? We having a beam, positive and negative means showing the electrical field. Detector array is there. Pointer is there basically. Magnetic field is there. That is your velocity sector selector. We can say how can we select the velocity? Detector array is there. So in this, a mass spectrometer separate ions according to their mass to charge ratio. We having some mass to charge ratio. So mass spectrometer separate ions according to their mass to charge ratio. Now, in one design, a beam of iron passes through a velocity selector. This is the velocity selector part. In this, we can say beam of iron passes through. We having a beam of iron passes through like this. See, we having the passes through like this iron. Okay, enters a second magnetic field. Enters in which field? We having one magnetic field, another one is there. That is out. This in, we can say. So it's entered the another magnetic field. After entering the second magnetic field, the ions moving in a semicircle of radius r. It's behaving like this, semicircle of radius r. I hope you understand this thing. Okay. Before striking a detector at P, now P is the point, detector. You have the point P. See here, this is the point P. So that is your what? Detector ion. If the ions are positively charged, they deflect to left. If the ions are positively charged, basically, so what have they deflected to left? They basically move to left. If ions are negatively charged, they deflect to right. If ions are negative charge, they deflect to right. If positive charge, they deflect to left hand side. So we can identify this thing. Next, the mass to charge ratio, that is m by q. Basically, ratio can be determined by the measuring the radius of curvature. Having the curve, if I am measuring the radius of curvature and knowing the magnetic field and electrical field magnitudes, we can say. So m by q ratio is their mass to charge. It's basically the RB naught. B naught is basically the output magnetic field upon V electrical. Again RB naught into B, second magnetic field upon E. Okay. So in practice, you can measure the masses of various isotopes of a given item with all the ions carrying the same charge. The mass ratio can be determined even if charge is unknown. So we can also determine how. If we having no charges are there, we having another ratio. If we having the radius, we having the magnetic field out, we having the electrical field, we can take a ratio of it and we can easily identify the ratio of it, mass ratio. Now, Thomson E by M, electrical by magnetic field experiment, is very basically the elaborative, or you can say understand how the experiment did before in the ancient time. That is done by the Thomson. So electrons are accepted from the cathode. It is basically the cathode ray tube we having fluorescent coating. The cathode ray tube is there. Now electrons are accelerated from the cathode. They are deflected by electric and magnetic fields. They are deflected by electrical and magnetic field. Two fields are there. The beam of electrons strikes a fluorescent screen E by M by measure. For this we can measure the E by M. Now see here. Electrons are accepted from the cathode. Accepted from the cathode. Passes through two slits. Two slits are there. See, this is the two slits are there. Now cathode beam is there. It is passing through the two slits. Are deflected by both an electrical formed by the charge deflection field and magnetic field directed perpendicular to the electrical field. Okay, slits are there. We having two fields. One is the electrical field due to the charges, and another one is perpendicular to the magnetic field, electric field, that is magnetic field. We having, see, we having two plates. Deflection of plates will creating the magnetic field coil is there, and the electric field due to charges. Then it basically deflected on the beam, basically deflected electron beam on the fluorescent screen. So it basically gives you the image. It gives you the figures. So through this we can make our CRO. We having the TV also, cathode tube TV. We use this technique. So this was the technique which we use in the ancient. Okay, hope you understand about this thing. Now some related multiple choice question with this. Now an electrical current flows into a page. What is the direction? Flows into the page, not out to the page. Okay. Now secondly, the magnetic energy of magnetic material is given by. The energy in a magnetic material is due to the which process? The EMF energy in a magnetic material is due to which process? How can we generate it? How can we find it? EMF, magnetization, magnetorestriction, polarization. The flux lines of two energized coils overlapping on each other will give what? Series aiding, series opposing, shunt opposing. The resistance in a magnetic material is called as a in magnetic material. Okay. The line integral of a magnetic field intensity is given by turns, flux density, MMF, current element. How can a magnetic field be produced? Can we see magnetic flux lines by naked eye? Magnetic field line moves from north to south, south to north, west to east, east to west. The magnetic flux density is directly proportional to the magnetic field intensity. True or false? So you have to state this thing. Now, these are the references which we basically took my points, took my content here. So references are, the first is the A. Fitzgerald, Kingsley Jr. and Women's Electrically Machinery. Sixth edition, Tata McGraw-Hill was the publisher. International Student Edition, that is 2002. So it is an international author book, we can say. Now, R.K. Srivastava is very good book. So I took so much part from this R.K. Srivastava book, that is of electrical machine, Chinese learning. So I hope you understand about this lecture, electric force, and this is the references. So you can just go through the reference. You can also study in our library. We have very good books available in our library, so you can just go through. So I basically gave an introduction, or basically told you or taught you about the particle in the uniform field, uniform magnetic field, and non-uniform magnetic field. Force is always there, electrical force and magnetical force. So Lorentz force is there, addition of these two. So we can say electromagnetic interaction is there. So that is the electromagnetic force. I hope you understand. So this is all about from my side. Thank you for patience listening. Hope you understand. Thank you, students. I hope you understand all this thing. Thank you for patience. It is all about my side. Thank you, students.